Steve Jewin, MMA Mania.
All right, go ahead, Steve.
Brandon Girtz, how are you doing today, sir?
Oh, I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm excellent. I'm really excited because of this fight that you're taking at Bellator 197. Your answer to getting the call was a very explicit tweet where you said, effing yep. Why are you so excited about taking this fight on short notice with Michael Chandler?
I think it's a perfect matchup for me. I've always looked at fighting Chandler as that's going to be the one guy I fight, and it's going to be an epic fight. And when they offered me that fight, I was all about it, man. I mean, I even already had another fight scheduled. I had a good fight scheduled, and I was happy for that fight. But there is nothing better than this one. I look at Chandler as he's been at the top of the division since I've joined Bellator. So it's always been somebody that I knew I was going to fight at some time. That's always your goal, to go to the top. And the opportunity came, and I absolutely loved it.
It's a great opportunity, but were you surprised at the way it came about? Brent Premise pulling out of the fight?
Yeah, when I heard that, I got it, and they told me Primus was hurt and asked me if I was instantly like, wow, really? This has been a fight, in the making for over a year, and to happen like this, it's a little crazy, but, it was perfect timing for me and an absolutely blessing and great opportunity. So I'm happy about it.
Now, how frustrated do you think Michael Chandler is going to be coming into the fight? Because the last time I talked to him, he said he didn't even want the fight with Primus, and then they gave it to him, and then Primus pulled out. So he's got to be roaring mad right about now.
Oh yeah, he's had a lot of emotions going through, that's for sure. I mean, not to say he didn't want the fight. He wants his belt back. That's absolutely true. But he definitely, I could see, he's fed up with Primus, and with the stuff. And it's been a year, since it's happened. So the guy is, fuming. And then this happens. Oh man, I bet he's going through a lot of emotions. And then, now he has to fight me. I mean, I believe that's a whole different monster. It's a whole different thing. And it's got to be, it's definitely an emotional time, I believe, for him.
Do you believe they should have vacated the lightweight title with this long between title defenses, or maybe even put it on the line in this fight between you and Chandler?
I mean, it's hard to say. I don't want to say that life happens to people and things happen, circumstances happen. I'm not talking on Primus. I'm not going to talk shit about him and him this or that. Things happen, and there's been other champions in time that it's taken a long time for them to defend their belt because something happened, and like I said, things in life happen, and I know I heard he had a child, and that's a huge thing. I'm a major family man, so I can believe that, I would want to be there for the birth of my child, and I would want to be around. And when you're in training camp, you're not around. It's a grueling time, and you don't have the energy to be around a baby. I know how hard that would be, and like I said, when I've been saving that for a while because I know that will be a grueling time.
Speaking of grueling, you said you already had another fight in the works before this one got put together. So how far into a training camp were you, and how much did you have to pick up the pace?
I definitely had to pick up the pace. I was definitely a lot farther away from my next fight, obviously 3.5 week notice, but I'm always in the gym, it is different training, but I was in practice. I was still getting hard practices in. It's not like I was sitting at home. I wasn't, not training. This is my life, man. This is the stuff I like to do. I'm always in shape. I'm ready to go. So you do always pick up the pace. Definitely when you have a fight and I sign my name on that contract, it's a different mentality then.
But you weren't like sitting at home with a beer and Cheetos when you got the call. You were like, nope, I'm already training. I'm already in good shape. I just got to get in better shape.
Absolutely. That's exactly it. I was, like I said, I was already hitting hard practices. I already had a hard sparring day a few days before they called me. I knew I was ready, so it's, like I said, I don't sit around and, fitness and stuff. That's my life. That's the stuff I love. This is what I love to do. And, I'm not one that needs to take break or drink beer. I don't like beer. That's not my thing, So training and stuff is what I like to do,
who's been getting down with you to get you ready for this short notice fight? Who's been the most helpful getting you prepared?
Well, I gotta say, we've had a change up at not a major change, but we've had some additions to Genesis with Neil Melendez coming to our gym and him bringing some of his guys. Like Carrington Banks has been a massive addition to the team and to me and getting me ready for this fight. He's an amazing training partner. He'll be out there with me at the fight, and I gotta say, he's been the number one guy, in that way. And then him and Abel Terrell have been great. And then just Justin Gaethje, me and him have been training partners for 4 years and getting each other ready. He's getting ready to fight the same exact weekend. So it just works out. We do a lot of our workouts together, a lot of our strength and conditioning together, and our intensity level has been, perfect together.
Justin is a guy I used to talk to a lot back when he was the World Series of Fighting champion. And your name always came up when I talked to him. He would say the same thing about how you two have been rolling since day one and how iron sharpens iron when the two of you were together.
Yeah, absolutely. I've had some sparring sessions and bang out sessions with people throughout my life, but those were, every once in a while. Every time me and Gaethje stand across from each other in a sparring session, it's a fight. And we love it. We both like to brawl and we both like to fight. And, that's something, and his intensity level is something I've met before, but, he comes and meets my intensity level the same, and we're able to feed off of it. And the days that, I might be slowed down, he don't let me slow down, and he don't take it easy on me. We go hard, and we compete every practice that we do together. So it's a great addition. And, like you said, since I've been here in Colorado for 4 years, that's been my dude, and he's done nothing but elevate my game and, make it better. And like I said, his intensity level is maybe, has helped me go in there and just let it all fly.
I know this Dustin Poirier fight he's got coming up at UFC on Fox 29 is a pretty big deal, but this weekend we have a UFC 223 card that was losing a main event, and Gaethje's name was circulated in the mix as a guy who could step in on short notice since he was already in training for a fight. What did you think of those rumors?
He, like you said, he already had a big one, and the deal is it's in his hometown, so that would be about the only thing I know is kind of tough to pull out of that fight, just because he's got a fan base and a family base there that is freaking massive, and I know in the back of his head, as much as he wanted to step in, as much as he would love to, that dude's ready to go. I mean, he's in shape right now. He's ready to fight. I know that he's a family man and he wants to, make them happy. And I know, it's in his backyard, and to cancel on everybody like that, I kind of feel like that's something. I know he wishes he could have been there and he would have been ready to step in there, but I know that in the back of his head he had that in his mind.
That's certainly understandable. I wouldn't want to pass that up in his shoes either. But what do you make of this whole drama that circulated around MMA in the last 24 hours and how it affects the perception of the sport in the mainstream?
Rick, man, it's pretty crazy. I look at it. I'm not hating. I'm not one to judge. I don't know. I mean, only thing I'm hating on is, freaking busting windows of a van that my homie, Rose was on. Other than that, I look at it and I probably wouldn't even care at all. Other than that my homie was on that bus, that's the only thing that really infuriates me, Other than that, I mean, I'm not into what other, I don't look at this stuff. It has nothing to do with me. I think it's whatever, Conor rolled up in there to defend his friend. If that's the deal, flies across the country to defend his friend. To me, that's loyalty, and I'm all about loyalty, but going smashing windows of a van that other people are in, and it's not anything to do with that other person. You're fucking up other people, that have nothing to do with that dude. That's pretty messed up, and, freaking, I don't know how it looks on MMA. It's a crazy sport, but I don't feel like it's going to put a massive black eye. We already know Conor's crazy.
Yeah, this was just more icing on the cake of that. But like you, I felt really bad when I heard that Rose was so freaked out that she got off the bus and walked all the way back to her hotel. And I've been following Rose all the way since the Invicta shows in Kansas City. I was there the night she got the flying triangle leg choke in like 10 seconds. So I've been watching her rise up this whole way. And when I heard that, I was like, oh, a champion like her should not have to go through that.
Yeah, absolutely. And the deal is everybody's already intense at that time. I mean, this is two days before a fight. Fighters are intense, you know, and then you got some maniacs out there messing with you. You know, everybody on that bus wanted to get off and straight start murdering people. You know,
Right.
that's how I would have been. I would have been freaking out. It had nothing to do with me, but you better believe it had something to do with me. You're chucking shit at the bus I'm sitting on, you know, and I'm intense right now. I'm getting ready to go to war. You know, and during that, I love the week of fighting because my freaking warrior starts coming out and I'm ready to just fight anybody, you know, and you start doing stuff like that. I mean, that's an intensity level, you know, and I guarantee everybody on that bus, maybe they were shooken up in a way, but they were shooken up because they were getting so freaking infuriated.
Right. Well, I guess then we're lucky that things didn't turn a whole lot worse. It sounds like that could have gone downhill really fast. But on a more personal note, what's the craziest thing you've ever been through in a fight week? Has anybody ever gotten all up in your face like that and tried to start a beef with you before the fight?
You know, I haven't had a ton of that, honestly, and I would enjoy it. You know, I freaking love that stuff. I want to hate my opponent. Don't get me wrong. I literally, when I step in there, this is battle to me. I'm not a point fighter. I'm not someone that goes in, I don't look, this is a sport, and I'm not going to say MMA is not a sport, but in the end of the day, we're fighting, you know, and fighting something I like to do, and I've been fighting my whole life. It's my mentality. And if someone talks shit to me, oh man, you better believe I love it, dude, because it gets me even more mad. And I dealt with a little bit of that in Italy with Luca and his team, and I loved it. You know, I went out there, and it wasn't as much of Luca talking shit other than his, you know, training partners or whatnot, but you know, it didn't matter. You know, it gets me going. I've had it a couple times in my career where, you know, people have done a little bit of something. I haven't had it as much as I would like. You know, I want to hate my opponents. You know, I absolutely do. I want to go out there and I want to take your head off on a personal reason. You know, some people don't like, some people need to be calm, collective, but I focus. You know, it's not going to take me off my rhythm. You know, that's something I zone in, and I take the sport very serious. And if someone comes and talks shit to me, that's personal, you know, and I'm going to take it that way. And it's not going to take me off of my line. It's not going to mess me up. You're not going to see me go out there and, you know, Diego Sanchez just win stuff. You know, I throw bombs, I throw them, but I'm calculating on that. You know, I'm looking to take them out calculated. And in my last fight, you could see, I mean, I was pissed when I went in there, but I was waiting for my point, you know, I'm waiting for it. And like I said, I love it, you know, so, for someone to talk shit, I haven't had it as much as I wish I have, you know, and the last one, it wasn't so bad. It was a little bit, and I want more of it.
So I guess we could say lesson learned by Luka Jelcic and any other future opponents that if you get Brandon Girtz worked up, your ass might be on the canvas in 2 minutes flat.
Absolutely.
I don't know if Michael Chandler can hold his tongue that much because that's a very strong-minded, strong-headed, and strong-opinionated person. So he may not be able to hold back saying something at this point.
You know, like I said, I hope he does, you know, and I've seen somebody sent me one of his interviews recently, and he said in his text, he said, watch this, he said, Michael Chandler is very respectful, and that was the text, but I read it as disrespectful because that's what I wanted to read. You know, I was hoping, and I watched the interview, and the whole time I was waiting for him to say some shit about me, some negative stuff, and the whole time all he did was say good things. So, you know, I'm waiting for him, man. I'm waiting for him to get me pumped up about it. I mean, I don't need any extra. I'm pumped up to go, and this is an opportunity, you know, for me to really solidify my name and get a crack at that belt. But, dude, any extra topping on it, I love, man, and I'll take it, dude. Give me something to be pissed about.
So I guess then the final question as we wrap this up would be, you're already pumped up for this fight and you're talking about future opportunities at the title. Would this win, if you get it on Friday, does that solidify you then as the number one contender?
I don't see how it can't. I mean, I'm stepping in a fight where Chandler was supposed to be fighting for the belt. And if I go out there and I take his soul and I knock him out, I think I take his spot. I think that's how, I believe that's how it works. You know, I mean, I go in there and I put out the number one contender. Doesn't that make me the number one contender? So I absolutely believe if I go out there and I put him out, and especially in a knockout fashion, why shouldn't I be next?
I feel so too, but unfortunately they don't have a top 15 ranking system we can vote on like UFC does. So if I was voting and you got that knockout, I'd definitely put you at that number one spot.
So let's tell them.
All right. Well, on that note, Scott Coker, I hope you're listening, and I hope everybody's watching at Bellator 197. But Brandon, before I let you go, social media plugs, sponsors, anything you want to put out there.
You know, you can get me on social media at Brandon Girtz MMA, and you know, as sponsors, I'd like to thank Garden of Life, Hayabusa, Vaporfy. They're big ones of mine. My Dog's the Cutest is one of my big sponsors because, you know, I love my dog, and that's a big deal to me. So that, and I've gotten together with Elite Regenerative Stem Cell, something I'm going to be looking at after this fight, and yeah, those are the big ones.
All right, Brandon, thank you again for the time. Bellator 197's main event is Michael Chandler and Brandon Girtz going to war for 3 rounds or possibly less if he takes his soul and takes that number one spot. Brandon, good luck in that fight.
Absolutely, brother. Thank you.
No problem. And thank you, Dan, as well.